Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience, and welcome to the Housing, Land Use, Environment, and Transportation Committee meeting. Today is March 28th, and we'll open our meeting up with a call to order and establishing our quorum.
Good morning, Vice Chairperson Semidian. Here. Chairperson Arenas.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Wonderful. Next is on our agenda is item number 2. It's public comment, and this is where anyone can share comments about anything that's not on our on today's agenda. If you're in person and like to share public comment, we ask you to submit a yellow card for that. And if you're viewing this virtually, please raise your virtual hand to share public comment. We'll start with our in-person public comment. Peggy, what do we have?
We have no speakers in chambers and no one in the Zoom room.
Well, I am surprised. Okay. So we're going to move on to approving the consent calendar, and item 3 has items 12 through 18. And I'd like to add item number 7 to the consent calendar, if that's okay with my vice chair, and check it in with you to see if you have any changes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, happy to offer a motion in just a moment, but first I want to take a moment on the Levine Act items and just acknowledge that we have been advised that certain items on the consent calendar may be subject to the Levine Act, as indicated in the language on our published agenda. Specifically, we have been advised that items 12 and 13 on the consent calendar may be subject to the Levine Act. We've also been advised that pursuant to state law, any party or their agents must disclose on the record a contribution of more than $250 made to a board member, as described on page 3 of our agenda. So I want to ask at this time that if any party or agent has made such a contribution, that they disclose that contribution immediately so that I may promptly recuse myself. And I would also ask that if any participant in these proceedings, as defined by the Levine Act, has made such a contribution, that they disclose that contribution immediately so that I might promptly recuse myself. And I would also ask that if any employee of the County Counsel's office or the Clerk of the Board's office or any other member of the county staff or any member of the public knows of any reason I should recuse myself under the Levine Act, that they please disclose that information immediately so that I may promptly recuse myself. In the absence of such notification, I am happy to move approval of the consent calendar as contained in our published agenda with the addition of item number 7 as indicated by our chair. Thank you.
Wonderful, and I'll second that. And Peggy, I believe you also have a Levine Act announcement.
I do. Just for the record, items on the consent calendar may be subject to the Levine Act, as indicated in the agenda on the as indicated in the language on the published agenda. Any party or their agents must disclose on the record a contribution of more than $250 to a board member, as described on page 3 of the agenda. Participants who have a financial interest and their agents are requested to make a similar disclosure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And don't know if we have any speakers for this item.
We have no speakers in chambers or the Zoom room.
Wonderful. So if you can do a roll call, please.
Vice Chairperson Semidian.
Aye.
Chairperson Arenas.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Wonderful. So now we're moving on to our regular agenda items. The first one being Parks Department Parkland Acquisition and Public Access. Welcome.
Thank you. Don Rocha, Director of Parks and Recreation. With me today is Acting Deputy Director Jeremy Farr. We have a brief presentation for the committee today on public access in our acquired lands. Next slide, Jeremy. The long-term acquisition strategy is based on our 2012 board-approved acquisition plan, which is also has a foundation of different county policies and direction coming from the general plan as well as the park charter. The criterion for acquisition are based on property characteristics, our land with being of countywide significance, and the ability to partner and leverage our funding with suitable partners. The policy considerations of the properties are consider threat to development, connectivity to open space, as well as regional trail connectivity for our regional countywide trails master plan, and of course operational considerations, primarily planning for future growth and recreational expansion as population growth and needs for recreation grow over time. Next slide. The long-term strategy for acquiring parks and expansion of our boundaries for future growth and preservation of parklands. Primarily, we look at the connectivity, looking at utilizing regional trails and utilizing open space to connect open space areas, and expanding our existing boundaries to be able to accommodate future needs of recreation as demand requires in the future. Next slide. This is a slide coming from our suitability study as part of our land-based acquisition. It really is a demonstration of land suitability and showing the expansion of our existing boundaries and the web of parklands connecting our regional trails and open space areas to existing open space and parklands throughout the valley, utilizing primarily the Countywide Trails Master Plan as that connectivity for humans as well as wildlife to connect with our open space areas and parklands. The general plan and other documents don't specifically address the public access component and the timing of public access. However, it does lay a roadmap for preparing for future growth. So in many instances, you'll see that the department acquires landscapes that expand upon our current boundaries, and those will be future plans as recreational demands require growth and expansion into other areas within the park. And then you'll also see that that the connectivity of landscape, sometimes it takes us a number of acquisitions to complete acquisitions to be able to see a connectivity of connecting lands and connecting regional parks through the regional trail system prior to any planning and construction of trails. And that leads us to the Countywide Trails Master Plan, which is an element of the general plan. That is the linkage from the valley into our open space areas and kind of creating the web of, the emerald web of parks within Santa Clara Valley, of making sure that these open space areas all connect with one another, both for wildlife connectivity and for human connectivity. Of course, after following any acquisition, the department then follows we do an interim plan to make sure that we're managing the landscapes appropriately prior to any transparent public planning process, and eventually approval by the Board of Supervisors to allow recreation and public access onto the landscape. Those planning processes vary on acquisitions. Sometimes when we're acquiring lands with partners, we have to work with those land partners like the Habitat Agency to get approvals from the wildlife agencies, and additional agreements may come into play through easements and others so that we can combine public access with conservation values. And sometimes those take a little bit longer to be able to work those out with the wildlife agencies. Also, a lot of times, even for parks and creating trails and open space areas within landscapes that we acquire ourselves, doing those surveys sometimes takes multiple years to really understand the landscape and the wildlife needs and the habitat needs by going through different flowering periods, nesting periods, and others to really understand what the potential impacts of public access onto those landscapes might be. So those planning process at times can take some time. It depends on the lands that we're acquiring and what kind of disturbances may be part of it, what types of infrastructure may also be on those lands that could be hazardous for the public. So ultimately, the timelines for public access within these landscapes vary acquisition by acquisition. It's really dependent on the partners that we're acquiring with and what those regulatory constraints may be, also what their timing constraints may be for funding and otherwise. And of course, there's other factors that come into play for, like, for instance, regional trails, and making sure that the regional trail has a connection prior to planning and putting people on the landscape instead of having kind of just an out and back and an incomplete trail. So those factors all come into play that affect the timing for public access. And with that, we have a few examples to show different acquisitions and what those timings of access could be. So Jeremy will lead that part of the discussion.
Oh, good morning. Sorry. Jeremy Farr, Acting Deputy Director for the Parks and Recreation Department. As Director Rocha mentioned, I will be describing several examples that talk about the factors, the acquisition of parklands and the factors that the Director just mentioned. Our first example is the Stevens Canyon property. This property is adjacent to Stevens Creek County Park, which I'll just put a plug in, is celebrating 100 years as a county parkland. So I'll put that plug in. The Stevens Canyon property was actually purchased in 1979. However, the property was held in a life estate, which meant that the property would not be transferred to the county until the owner either passed away or in 2022, the owner decided to move away and relinquish their property rights. But however, over the 40 years that we have purchased the property, we've actively collaborated with Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District to acquire the lands around it. So in 2022, this became the missing piece that would allow a regional trail connection from Stevens Creek County Park to Upper Stevens Creek County Park. So the department will be collaborating in the future with Mid-Peninsula Open Space District on the planning, design, and construction of this trail, looking at trying to balance the resources of both agencies to do so. Our next example is the Coyote Canyon property. This more than 2,700 acre property was acquired in 2016 and created a major landscape connection between Coyote Lake, Harvey Bear Ranch County Park, Anderson Lake County Park, and Henry Coe State Park, sorry. In 2019, the board adopted a natural resources management plan and interim access plan. The natural resources management plan was prepared given the extensive sensitive resources that are present on the property, and an interim access plan was developed as we found that some of the trails or some of the existing roads were suitable for a trail network. So the department postponed future master planning of the property because of the additional land acquisitions that were required to go around Anderson Reservoir and to connect to Henry Coe as regional trail connections. But we continue to move forward with trying to open this property to public access with the construction of the Ojo de Agua Trail, hoping to go to award bid very soon, and then minor improvements with the property opening in early 2025 at the latest. The Fortini property was a recent acquisition in 2022. This 47-acre property directly connects the Calero County Park and Santa Teresa County Parks, and there are no parcels in between, so we have a direct connection between the two county parks. Because of that direct connection, as well as a very, very popular Rancho San Vicente entrance where we have parking impacts, the department has prioritized planning and design for this property to provide a regional trail connection between our two county parks, but also to alleviate some of the infrastructure struggles that we're dealing with to avoid impacts along McKean Road and to the neighborhood. So once we're currently have started that planning process, we're looking to have public input later this year. And then once that planning effort is completed, that will be put on our capital improvement program, pending funding and staff capacity for construction of the trail. The Mount Madonna North property is a floating trail easement that the department negotiated with the Santa Clara Valley Habitat Agency, which is the fee title owner of the property. This is approximately over 700-acre property north of Mount Madonna County Park, and would eventually provide a regional trail connection to Uvis Reservoir County Park. This particular planning process will take additional effort, given that the property will be enrolled in the Habitat Plan reserve system. So there are more extensive sensitive resource surveys and restoration improvement plans that are factored into the property rather than just our resource management and recreational access. And that planning will be done in conjunction with the Habitat Agency and the wildlife agencies that administer the Habitat Plan. Our next example is the Redwood Ridge property, which is actually right next to the Mount Madonna North property. This acquisition was recently approved by the board, and we hope to close escrow in 2024. This 200-acre property would expand Mount Madonna County Park and provide a different regional trail route than the one I spoke about for Mount Madonna North. In this case, as was mentioned before, we have a parcel along a regional trail route, so planning would be postponed until additional acquisitions or easements could occur so that we could have a connection for a regional trail route to other county parks or other public open space. And our final example are the Arata and Garcia properties. These properties were acquired in the early 90s. They are just north, they're actually northwest of Mount Madonna County Park. These properties were included as part of the board-approved 2019 Mount Madonna Master Plan. They were identified as general areas for recreational growth or for active recreation. In this case, potentially with a partner. So this flexibility in the master plan allows the department to seek out partnerships for potential development of the property. In the event that we don't find suitable partnerships, then the department would add these properties to any future Mount Madonna County Park planning efforts to address the growing recreational needs in South County. And that concludes our report, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Appreciate the presentation. I'm going to go to public comment before we begin any discussion. Peggy?
We have no speakers on the item.
Chair? Vice Chair? Well, I'll call on myself then. I really appreciate the detailed partnership and collaboration that you explained with some of the partners that we collaborate with in order to acquire the properties and then create easements and in order for us to have public access. I know that there's going to be a while before we get there, and I know I heard loud and clear that it depends on the property, depends on the acquisition. So I know that those approvals and the easements will take time. But then I also heard on top of that there's a time period that you're also looking at the impact of public access to those properties as well as any dangers to the public in accessing these properties. How long does that typically take?
So typically, the surveys usually take a year, just so that we can cover all seasons, so we can really understand what resources are out on the property. Sometimes they take a little bit longer. It depends on the complexity of the property, and then it depends on what hazards are on the landscape. So we'll do a phase 1, and then the implementation of a phase 2. It depends on what hazards could be there and what, outbuildings and other things could be an attractive nuisance sort of for public, and do we remove those first prior to putting public on the property. So it just kind of depends on what the surveys are telling us and where we need. The biggest thing around the surveys is one, how do we balance the protection and preservation of habitat and wildlife and the needs of wildlife around nesting and breeding habitats? But at the same time, how do we bring people to be able to appreciate and connect without impacting it? And really trying to understand what those relationships are do take some time to get surveys and understand what the landscape and where it would be appropriate to put people to make those connections without harming what the wildlife are trying to do.
I appreciate the feedback. So those surveys typically take a year, and then the approvals and easements.
They
More
vary amongst agencies, so especially dealing with some with like the wildlife agencies around the conservation, sometimes there's negotiations with those wildlife agencies, not necessarily the habitat agency, because access is an approved activity, but where that access is and where that actual trail goes on the ground, working with the wildlife agencies sometimes can be challenging.
Is it based on our surveys, or is it based on like a collective effort of surveys?
Collective effort of surveys, because sometimes the wildlife agencies have a different perspective and require more detailed work than maybe what we have done traditionally.
Got it. Okay, so then what I'm trying to figure out is, do we do a survey, then they do a survey? But it seems like it might overlap. Can we make an effort to have that happen concurrently, and that way we're not waiting for them to do a survey after we've finished doing one ourselves?
Yeah, and that's what we strive for, is to, one, leveraging our resources it helps accelerate that as well, and we want to make sure that we're answering the right questions. A lot of times dealing with wildlife agencies, the questions change. It's not consistent landscape to landscape, so it's better to collaborate up front, so we really understand what the concerns are and where those areas can go. But also the next step in doing that, right, is understanding the landscape and where we can put trails. And then after that, then our trail crew goes out and surveys to find the safest route to be able to then put the public, because a lot of elements around the trail design itself takes time to make sure that grades are controlled and others, because we really strive for multi-use, and then we strive for access for everyone. So a lot of times trying to figure out, going up a steep grade, how do you get up that steep grade without making it a 40% climb that most people can't do, or a mountain biker is then going really fast down because they can't control their speeds on a steep grade, right? So it's trying to find out where that goes on the landscape takes time as well.
Got it. Okay. So I'm really looking forward to the Calero and Santa Teresa with the Fortini property that connects both. And hopefully we'll see those trails connect. And I'm guessing those are a bit more predetermined because there's already established trails on both sides. So
Correct.
It's just a natural.
Just a natural, and in our master planning previously, because Santa Teresa being so close, we had already talked to the city of San Jose about potential crossing of McKean Road. So we've already kind of preliminary identified where that crossing could be. So that'll help speed up that part of it.
Perfect. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Looking forward to all of the recent property acquisitions, and even the ones that we've secured in the 90s, like the Arata and Garcia property, because now you're actively looking for some partnership.
Correct.
You probably have over time, but hopefully you'll line something up. We'll knock on wood, keep our fingers crossed, salt over the shoulders, anything that we could do. But seriously, if there's things that we can help in terms of bringing any other partners, I'm sure that you have already thought of all the partners that you could, but in case you need an additional person to support, we're here for you.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, well, those are my questions. So if I could get a motion, we can wrap this up. Second.
Vice Chairperson Semidion. Aye. Chairperson Arenas.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jeremy. Thank you, Don, for the presentation and all the really good work. We're looking forward to that public access, hopefully really soon. All right, so we are moving on to item 5, which is agriculture worker housing, pending development applications. Oh, that was a really quick exchange. Welcome.
Hi, Jacqueline Onshano, Director of Planning and Development. And with me today is both the Deputy Director, Lisa Mikhail, and Principal Planner, Sam Gutierrez. We're going to just stand up our ag employee housing list and just run through that list briefly for the committee and for the public.
Thank you.
Sam will bring that up.
As he's doing so, Sylvia Gallegos, Deputy County Executive, I just wanted to provide context for everybody. So as you know, we have an ag worker housing initiative, and there are quite a number of items on the work plan, and one of the referrals specifically from December 5th was for the planning department to present pending applications in the unincorporated area that include agricultural worker housing, and so the department has prepared that in response to that referral. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia Gallegos. Jacqueline Anchano, Director of Planning and Development. So what you see on your screen is our ag employee housing application tracking list. This is available on our public portal also. It is updated as the applications are modified by the applicants. We have a total that you see here of 15 applications. The Christopher Ranch applications, which are items 10 through 15, have all been finalized and have been occupied and utilized. Running from 1 through I think I'll go 1 through 9. These applications are in various stages. Some of them are in a pre-application state. And how we have outlined the agricultural tracking sheet is we have the property owner, we have the parcel size so it's clear, we have a project description of what has been submitted by the applicant that was under review and has been reviewed by the subject matter experts. We are giving information on the date, and then the next steps, we're showing that information as well, along with the district, the planner, in the event that the public would want to have more questions and access the planner, the zoning, and the applicant and property owner, because not always is the applicant who's submitting the same as the property owner. So we're trying to give as much information as we can to the public. So these applications are in various stages. Because they are active, I won't deliberate on the stages of where the applications are, but we will entertain any questions that you might have.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Before we begin any questions, I'll check in with Peggy and see if we have anybody.
We have no speakers on the item.
Okay, so we're going to move on to,
Excuse me, I believe we do have a speaker in the audience. They may not have pulled a card.
As he's filling out a card, what I would like to just clarify is these applications that you see on this list, as I stated earlier, are the applications that have been submitted and are under review. Some of them are in where they've gone through a pre-screening. Some of them, the applicants might be seeking to modify those applications, but we haven't received those modifications yet. They might be working out other issues. But we do have a status of each of the applications of the 1 through 9 applications that we currently have that are active.
great, thank you. And I know that we are going to have a speaker soon. I'm really excited to hear about items 9 through 15, 10 to 15 that they are now occupied. And that represents what is the total for Christopher Ranch, once again, in terms of capacity?
Yes, Sam, do you have a total of the number of units on the Christopher Ranch application?
The Christopher Ranch application didn't involve single units like you would think of a small house or something.
Oh.
They're more dormitory style, so we look at it as 5 dormitories, and they have the capacity of a total of 200 agricultural workers.
Got it, okay. So that means about 40 for each, right? I'll ask
Approximately 40.
some additional questions, but we have a speaker. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Amit Bindal, and I represent the Pacific Oak Residences, item number 7 on the list. Thank you for giving the time. Actually, there's an update. It's about 384 units total. The application, the pre-app that was done was a while ago. I'm here to speak today about help needed for farm worker housing. The county has laid good legislation a number of years ago in this aspect, and we see a lot of work there. I think there needs to be significant work done to scale up the impact of these legislations. As an example, there are several programs available for established developers who have deep pockets to develop affordable housing. For farm worker housing, though, it's a little bit different than regular affordable housing. And if we have to, bring it forward in the county, we really have to invest. And if Silicon Valley history teaches us anything, it's that innovation occurs when we invest in the new. Right? That's right. So I have 3 recommendations, 3 asks out of the group. First is waive all county fees related to affordable or ag worker housing, which has 15 units and above. And the reason I have 15 units and above is so that it doesn't get misused. Create a fund to help developers, specifically new developers, with soft costs of projects of 30 units and above. Soft costs such as septic, water, which is very county specific, soft costs such as civil, architecture, all these costs. Again, on projects of such scales, costs can really add up. Third is we really have to create a goal. I think legislation is good. Creating a goal of approving 1,000 units in the next 2 years and building as many in the next 5. Because when we tie our outcomes to a goal, it can have a better. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to the committee. Sam, you were going to tell us a little bit of the breakdown. The dormitory styled, tell me, is it like hostel style? Like what is that?
Generally, what that means is that, and it could be configured in different ways, but there's.
But how is this configured specifically? Is what I'm asking.
It's like different rooms with beds inside of them, and then they have a common area for restrooms.
Is it one large room for 40 people?
I don't know the specifics of each one because they vary. On the file.
Why don't you access the old plans and pull them up so that
We do that.
supervisor could see them?
It would be interesting to know who they're accommodating. So I'm guessing single men or women?
If I may, when I reviewed the plans when they were coming through, they had one of the buildings was for women, and it had a separate bathroom, and then the other units were for men at that time, but that was 4 years ago, so we'll pull up the plans. It might not show us on the plans that they're designated for women. They may just show units and the number of beds, but we did have separate bathrooms and a separate kitchen area was in the center.
And if you're not able to do that, we can get this offline.
Okay.
It's not, what is important to me to know is, are they accommodating both genders? Are they maybe accommodating family style? And if they are, what are those privacy partitions, or how are they segmenting? I'm guessing it's probably singles, either gender, but it would be really interesting to find out what that is. Those are 200 folks. And that's about, I think, about how many people come into, or the units, not people, but the units that are over at Ochoa camp. All right, we can move on with the item, and we'll learn about this a little bit offline. Vice Chair, do you have any questions? Great. I don't have any additional questions other than just really thanking you, Sylvia, for all the work that you've been doing, and of course, Jack, your leadership in this, not only tracking the applications, but supporting them with some technical assistance in order for them to get to the very end of this. And we heard from a speaker what he believes would be useful for us, and just for his own benefit. And I think this was discussed, I know this was discussed on Tuesday at our board meeting, but our Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren has 1.6 million for rehabilitation and electrification of farm worker housing, but that's for existing. We realize that there are some barriers for newly established, and we're taking a look at those and of course, helping to facilitate the growth. This is what our focus is. We have a whole work plan. I encourage you to look it up. It's listed probably on Tuesday's agenda, but not today's, correct?
That's correct. It's attached to the Tuesday board meetings item. And happy to share it with any stakeholder that
Oh,
you wish
wonderful.
to do.
And what I was mentioning was Mr. Bindal, who came in and gave some suggestions. We have a whole work plan for agriculture worker housing, and so it might benefit you to learn from some of that. We appreciate your feedback. And lastly, really, I just thank you for everything that you're doing. I know that the main issues for many of these applications have to do with fees, have to do with sewer and water, and those are the issues that we're hoping to really work on in the future so we can really break down some barriers. So I'm really excited about that. And thank you so much for this item. So if there's nothing else, I'd love to get a motion.
May I just,
Oh, of course,
if I
of
may,
course.
interject one thing for your awareness on the discussion of fees? You may recall when the Planning Development Department submitted its fee schedule at mid-year, there was a referral by one of your colleagues to review the full cost recovery policy, and there was a desire to incorporate an equity component. We're working on that. My hope is to bring that item back to the board in May. So I just wanted you to be aware of that, and that may be an opportunity to introduce new ideas if the board desires to do so.
Thank you. I appreciate that quite a bit. Okay. Vice Chair. Second. Peggy.
Vice Chairperson Simitian. Chairperson Arenas.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Wonderful. So we're just moving through this. Now we're going to move into item 6, which is the agricultural employee housing pilot programs. Welcome, Sam. Go ahead. Oh, wait. This is our annual report on significant changes to ground leases. Am I on the right one? Oh, that's on consent. Sorry. I put that on consent myself. Item 7. Okay, go ahead.
Good morning. Sylvia Gallegos, Deputy County Executive. And this item, number 6, pertains to the request by the board that we present oral reports monthly at Hewlett on the status of the Ag Worker Housing Initiative. I won't spend time on the work we have done since we made that presentation on Tuesday, but I will spend a moment to discuss what was originally scheduled for February until the meeting was canceled, the status of our research on pilot programs. And so we have had a couple of meetings, and we did have a presentation in December that presented to this committee some of the programs in other jurisdictions. And so we have spent the last couple of months spending some time to understand them better. You may recall that in Santa Barbara County, there is a Farm Worker Resource Center, which is a state grant-funded mobile resource center that provides resources out in the field where people work.
Wow, state funded.
It is. So, as I understand it, there is another cycle that, for program eligibility that will be coming up. We were not eligible in the 2023 cycle, but we are paying attention to the upcoming cycle.
And why is that? I'm sorry to interrupt your verbal report, but I'd love to.
That is a wonderful question, and I was advised, and I don't recall in this moment. So what I'm going to do is follow up with an off-agenda email, because that's an excellent question, and I have to confess, I was advised.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that if it was something that we could ready ourselves for in the upcoming year, I'm sure you'll ensure us on that track. Look forward to just learning what that is, and hopefully we can line things up, and then explore that Santa Barbara site, which I think is really amazing, as we want to do the same thing here for a resource center. But continue. I interrupted your verbal report.
Thank you. No, that was a
Okay.
timely question, and I appreciate it. So there is also a model in Ventura County called the Farm Worker Resource Program, which was created in 2017 and had about $200,000 in funding for implementation in the first year in 2018. It provides similar services as described in the Santa Barbara County model. It's housed in their Human Services Agency. There's multiple locations with extended hours, with weekend and night. And so that is one of the areas of research, is to understand, and something that we want to explore potentially with the survey of farm workers, which is what model works best for them. You know, there is, as we said earlier, the Santa Barbara model where they go to the work site, which may or may not be a conflict with, you know, the farming operations and also the wishes of the property owner. And then there is a model where they could go to a permanent site that offers, you know, extended hours, either evening or weekends, so that at their leisure they could go and learn about more services, or be able to submit applications for services. As you know, we've discussed, for example, with our social services agency, the potential to get Medi-Cal applications submitted. We also have a labor standards enforcement unit where if there are allegations of wage theft, that, you know, that would be also something that could be processed at a permanent site center. We haven't done the analysis to understand better which model may work better in Santa Clara County. And again, it would be informed from what we learn from any future farm worker survey.
Got it. Okay, wonderful. I appreciate it. Okay, so I don't know if you have any additional questions, Vice Chair. Wonderful. So I will ask you for, oh, no, this is a verbal report, so we don't need a motion, correct?
We do not need one, but we do need to invite public comment.
Well, let's invite public comment, please.
We have no speakers in the room, and we have no Zoom speakers either.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. We are going to move into item number 8, which is annual implementation report on IDD housing.
Good morning, Chair Arenas, and Supervisor Samedi, and Consuelo Hernandez, Director, Office of Supportive Housing. A few of the items on your agenda today are related to board referrals, asking the Office of Supportive Housing to provide specific reports on certain topics. This first one is related to our progress in implementing $40 million that the board approved specifically for housing for extremely low and very low income persons with intellectual and/or developmental disabilities. I will hand it over to Natalie Monk, our Housing and Community Development Division Manager, to provide the update.
Thank you, Consuelo. The board has identified $40 million for the development of housing for individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities and their families in 4 tranches of funding. To date, the board has allocated $33.6 million to support the development of 7 projects. These projects collectively include 737 affordable units, including 130 units which are set aside for ELI and VLI persons with intellectual and/or developmental disabilities. Since our last report, construction has started on Mitchell Park Place, a 50-unit development with 25 units set aside for IDD households. In addition, the board has committed $4 million in IDD funding to the 525 North Capitol project in San Jose. This proposed development is entitled for 160 total units, 10 of which are set aside for IDD households and 40 of which are set aside as permanent supportive housing. The county currently has $6.4 million in available IDD funding that has not been awarded. Administration has identified several potential pipeline projects that are well suited for IDD households. Each project would set aside between 10 and 25% of their total units for IDD households, consistent with our eligible project type 3 in our NOFA. That concludes our update. Happy to take any questions.
Great, thank you. I'm going to look to, wait, Peggy, public comment, please.
We have no speakers in chambers or in the Zoom room.
Great, and my vice chair? Any comments?
To the vice chairperson, I'm getting word in back that they're having trouble hearing in the recording. If you could be sure to keep your mic on when you're speaking.
Is that for me or is that for our vice chair?
Vice chair.
Vice chair.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let me just begin by saying thank you for the effort. And Madam Chair, I would just highlight the fact that this is an effort that our board agreed to a few years back now at my urging. And I made the exhortation at the time because it struck me that this was one of those efforts that everybody thought somebody should do, but nobody thought it was necessarily their responsibility. And it certainly applied, the need certainly existed and throughout the county. So I'm pleased to see that that's the approach that staff has taken. Just want to sort of dig down on a couple of items very quickly. First is when we started, gosh, 4 or 5 years ago now as I think about it, we had not yet moved into, I think, an understanding of or appreciation for the fact that, as I understand it, best practices these days involves mixing units for folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities with other units for the general public. Is that a fair summary? And I'm sorry, I don't think the microphone's on there.
Apologies, that's correct.
Thank you. And as I understood it, or understand it, the notion here is that if the goal is to help make sure we mainstream folks into the larger community and that they're included in the larger community, part of the larger community, that you don't do that by saying, you know, everybody over here. You do that by saying, all together here. And forgive my virtual PowerPoint here. And I'm curious, has that made it easier or harder to use the funds? Or neither way? I mean, I know at various times we've talked about, you know, the challenges of blended funding for projects and the, I'll just leave it there. Let you tell me since I asked the question.
Thank you for the question, Supervisor. In my opinion, it makes it easier in some ways to use the funding. As you know, there's an enormous need for this type of housing. I think any amount of funding that's allocated for affordable and supportive housing will be used promptly. In my opinion, it does make it slightly easier to use the funding.
Okay. That said, we had agreed, budget permitting, of course, to allocate $10 million a year over the course of 4 years, total $40 million. But we were not, given the ramp-up time involved, we were not dispersing at quite that rate. And so I understand from the report that we're essentially rolling over funds from year to year. And where are we in that rolling over process, and what does that suggest for the coming year?
That's correct, Supervisor. We currently have $6.4 million in available funds, and we do have several projects in the pipeline that could use those funds.
The 6.4 is for this fiscal year?
It is uncommitted in IDD funding that can be used this year.
And do we think that funding will be fully subscribed by the end of this fiscal year?
It's hard to predict, but that's my expectation.
And then that, of course, takes us to the question of what happens next fiscal year. And if you want to phone a friend, I'll understand through the chair.
I'll defer to Consuelo.
There we go.
Thank you, Natalie. And Natalie, the supervisor is specifically around the fiscal year. So we do have one proposal in the city of Mountain View that has a funding gap that will be coming to the board on April 16th. Then we have two other pipeline developments, and those are not ready yet for the board. Our goal is to get them to the board at the end of the calendar year. We do have some other leftover funding, Supervisor. So when we look at the available pipeline, we are encouraging developers to include units for IDD, regardless of whether we have money set aside in the IDD pool. If you'll recall, the board also approved the Willow Commons project in the town of Portola Valley. That came from the Stanford Fund, but it's specifically targeting the IDD population.
Thank you. And it sounds then as if there is no expectation of additional funding allocations for IDD units in the coming fiscal year.
That is correct, Supervisor. When we looked at the pipeline and the opportunity for the regional housing bond discussion at the BAFA level, part of our community engagement and conversations with the board in August will be around setting aside some targeted goals for the various target populations that the board has expressed interest in, specifically ag worker housing, workforce development for educators, IDD. The board has previously expressed an interest in youth and young adults. Natalie and her team have a number of projects right now for people who are in the LGBTQIA community. So really looking more strategically about who we're trying to house, instead of the push with Measure A was get units built fast, PSH. We're taking a very different approach with the potential of a regional bond.
Understanding the funding challenges for the coming fiscal year, and recalling that the entire board has been very supportive of these projects and the use of funds for the creation of units for folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities. This has clearly been an issue that I've pushed on, and as I say, particularly appreciate staff's follow-up and follow-through. Thoughts about how we can make sure that a year without funding doesn't sort of mean this issue or the county's support for such projects falls off the table? Is there, maybe I should be looking towards Ms. Gallegos as well as you, Ms. Hernandez?
Thank you, Supervisor Simitian. We've worked really closely with the administration to flag all of the board priorities around target populations. As you know, both the board and the administration have been supportive when we have identified potential developments that don't have money. I think we are fulfilling the original intent of the board referral, and I think there will be an opportunity for a secondary conversation around the regional bond. I think that would be the time for us as a community to think about what are our goals and benchmarks, not just looking at the unit count, but looking at the target population that we want to house and serve.
Thank you. I do have worried and do worry that absent sort of calling out the need for units to serve this particular population, that the need is sort of an afterthought, not always top of mind when people are talking about affordable housing. So I appreciate that. And just as an individual board member, Madam Chair, would ask staff to try and keep these issues top of mind and in the mix, whatever the right cliche of the moment is, because I am concerned that as long as we're going to be in the housing world, and I think that's a while, that this set of needs not be overlooked or forgotten. I wanted to ask a question. The Mountain View project that you mentioned, where there's a funding gap, remind me the name of that one, if you would, please.
It's the Lot 12 development in Mountain View.
And when we talk about using some of these funds for units serving the IDD population, is that because the project was originally designed to serve that population, or is that because there's an opportunity now to say, well, if you've got a funding gap, we've got some funds that are specifically set aside to develop units for the IDD population?
It is a little bit of both, Supervisor. We did not provide the update in this report, but it will be included in the April 16th memo, I believe, is we do have one Measure A development that included IDD funds that is not moving forward. And so one opportunity so that we don't lose those units is to put them in another eligible project. So it is capitalizing on that opportunity of not losing the pipeline of IDD units that we have. And we looked at a number of developments. That one seemed to be the most appropriate in terms of what is being proposed and developed. That development specifically has family units, it has rapid rehousing. It's an interesting mix, but it's not so much that includes 5 different target populations. That's one of the factors that Natalie and her team used to determine, is this an eligible property to include another population?
Well, thank you. I think being nimble, being flexible, being entrepreneurial, being almost even a little bit opportunistic in the good way, not in a bad way, is going to be helpful and important as you go forward. So I'm pleased to hear that that's the approach you've taken. Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the time, and thanks again to staff.
Thank you. Consuelo, I hear you loud and clear that there are certain focuses that are going to continue to take place for August. And I appreciate that ag worker housing is in there. Absolutely, workforce housing is much needed, and of course IDD. I know that there's a lot of projects happening in other districts, and so I'm wondering, is there any opportunity to have any housing projects for our IDD communities in South County?
Thanks, Natalie. Thank you, Chair Arenas, for the question. It is not uncommon for us to see the majority of the development happening in San Jose and most recently in the northern parts of the county. We have a smaller pipeline in South County. We have one pipeline development in the city of Gilroy. It's a county-owned property. And we have the Magnolias, which is going to be an ag worker housing development in the city of Morgan Hill. We have the Royal Oak Apartments that is under construction, opening at the end of this year. But outside of that, there really aren't a lot of projects that we're seeing in the pipeline. We have worked with the development community, and there have been a few opportunities, but really it has been harder to develop in South County.
I hear you. I hope that there could be some future opportunities with any remaining funding or future funding, and I'd love to take this conversation offline to see what we can do. But I appreciate all the efforts that are taking place now that will render housing soon enough. So thank you. Could I get a motion, please?
Move approval of the recommended action, which is to receive the report.
Second. Peggy?
Vice Chairperson Semidian,
Aye.
Chairperson Arenas,
Yes.
motion carries.
Wonderful. Let's move on to our last item, which is our annual housing and community development report.
Good morning. Natalie Monk, HCD Division Manager with the Office of Supportive Housing. I will share my screen. Thank you. The HCD Division within the Office of Supportive Housing administers the county's housing and community development programs. We're organized around 4 categories of work: housing development, community development, asset management, and policy and regional efforts. This is the 4th annual report, which covers the period of March 2023 through February 2024. This chart shows the 4 main categories of our work and highlights some of the major functions included in each category. We're extremely proud of the collective body of work that our team has completed during this period, and we'd like to highlight a few accomplishments for each category. I'll start with asset management. OSH is responsible for managing the county's loan portfolio, including both multifamily rental housing developments and loans issued to single-family homeowners. The county's portfolio consists of approximately 200 multifamily development loans and 150 single-family loans, with a combined value of approximately $757 million. OSH's asset management services ensure that developments stay affordable over the long term and that borrowers comply with their loan documents. Now I'll highlight a few achievements. During the past year, we analyzed and approved 7 loan modifications to preserve 582 existing affordable and supportive housing units in our portfolio. We extended the term of the affordability covenants on 4 of these properties, which collectively added 134 additional years of affordability. We also completed 12 HQS inspections to ensure that our existing affordable and supportive housing units are in good physical condition, and we processed 5 payoff demands from single-family homeowners. The HCD division also oversees a variety of community development activities using several state and federal funds where the county serves as the lead entity. Specifically, we act as the lead in the Urban County Program for the CDBG, the Home Consortium, and the PLHA Consortium. These funding sources, along with the 2016 Measure A Affordable Housing Bond, help support the Emergency Shelter Capital Improvement Program, the Empower Homebuyers SCC program, the BMR Partnership Program, and the Mortgage Credit Certificate Program. We also partner with local jurisdictions and community-based organizations to meet a variety of housing and community development needs in our community. I'll highlight a few accomplishments. This past year, we used CDBG and Home to fund various capital improvement projects, home repair projects, and community services. We issued 3 mortgage credit certificates and 3 reuse MCCs. And we issued $2 million in forgivable loans to 2 CBOs to finance the acquisition and renovation of properties which provide emergency assistance, information and referral services, and food programs to families, individuals, and seniors. As I mentioned, we manage the PLHA Consortium on behalf of the county and the cities of Cupertino, Gilroy, and Santa Clara. During the last year, we used over $1 million in PLHA funds to support pre-development work for the Civic Center multifamily development in Santa Clara, and approximately $475,000 for a variety of homelessness services for our community. We acquired 13 Empower Homebuyer SCC loans issued by the Housing Trust Silicon Valley with a combined value of approximately $2.7 million. We leveraged $200,000 in CalHome funding from the state of California and $185,000 in housing bond funds to issue loans to the first 2 home buyers through the BMR Partnership Program. This image is of the new development in Morgan Hill by Trumark Homes, where these first 2 homes are located. We previously awarded $750,000 to 3 CBOs through our CDC grant program. The African American Cultural Center has now used these funds to hire a full-time executive director, complete their first 3 years of fundraising, and submit preliminary design documents to the City of San Jose for a potential development. The South Bay CLT was able to hire an executive director and property manager and purchase their first property for affordable housing. And Somos Mayfair was able to hire a consultant to help them plan for a potential community development corporation. The HCD division of OSH also oversees affordable and supportive housing production by issuing a variety of loans through the county's Supportive Housing Development, NOFA. We also support the acquisition of new properties for affordable and supportive housing, conduct feasibility analyses on county-controlled land, and ensure that proposed developments on county land are on track. I'll go over some of our housing development highlights. We approved an MOU with the County of San Mateo to support new affordable housing projects with the Stanford Affordable Housing Fund that are within the 5-mile radius of Stanford University. We also supported 9 approved projects in their application to the state's SuperNOFA and NHTF NOFAs, which requested a combined total of over $229 million in soft financing from the state. We acquired 1 property located at 10 Kirk Avenue in unincorporated San Jose. We selected a developer for the development of educator workforce and other affordable and supportive housing at a county-controlled property in Cupertino. And we submitted applications for land use approvals for the development of approximately 430 units of affordable and supportive housing for 3 county-controlled sites. This past year, we also approved funding for 10 new housing bond-funded projects in the cities of Mountain View, San Jose, Santa Clara, and Palo Alto, which will result in approximately 1,100 new apartments and 4 new for-sale affordable homes. These 2 slides show the 9 new multifamily rental developments. We've continued to partner with the VTA on 4 properties. Developers have now been selected for all 4 potential projects, and the first project has submitted for land use approvals. Collectively, these proposed projects are expected to result in approximately 480 affordable multifamily rental apartments and approximately 45 affordable for-sale homes. We started construction on 10 developments, which will result in 1,040 permanent, affordable, and supportive apartments. This includes 4 developments under construction on county-controlled land. The first is 231 Grant Avenue in Palo Alto. It's 110 units with 77 units set aside as educator housing and 32 units set aside as workforce housing. This is the county's new forever home for The Hub, which is a youth-led and organized community center for current and former foster youth. This project also includes 81 units of affordable and supportive housing, with 40 units set aside for transition-aged youth. This is Mitchell Park Place. It's 50 units with 25 set aside for individuals with intellectual and/or developmental disabilities and their families, adjacent to Magic Bridge Playground in Palo Alto. We completed 10 developments, which have collectively added 1,060 new units. The HCD division of OSH is also involved in affordable housing policy and seeking new funding opportunities to expand the production of affordable and supportive housing. This year, we assisted Enterprise and BAFA in quantifying the Bay Area's regional affordable housing pipeline in order to advocate for future regional financing. We also track and review proposed and approved housing legislation. And special thank you to Aaron Forbath, County Council, and IGR for working on SB 406, which was signed into law in September and exempts financial assistance for affordable housing from CEQA. All right, and last but not least, we successfully nominated 2 potential housing developments as MTC priority sites, including East Santa Clara Street and Center Road in San Jose. Thank you very much to the board, county council, FAF, and the many, many others who make this work possible. That concludes our report. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. And with the consent of Madam Chair, I have one quick, very specific,
Please.
narrow question.
Please.
Thank you. Could you go back to the 231 grant?
Vice Chair, just before we begin comments, I just want to double check. Public comment?
None on this item.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right, Ed.
Thank you very much. You described 70-plus units as educator units, I think. I'm just trying to make sure I understand the current terms of art. 70-plus units as educator housing and the others as workforce housing. What's the distinction between the two in this context, please?
Thank you, Supervisor Samadian, for the question. If you recall, part of our funding negotiation with Meta included some existing workforce folks who work at Meta, but their partners work for school districts. That is just the terminology that we use for our regulatory agreement to make the distinction between the units, but they're all for educators.
Thank you. I just wanted to be clear about that. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Perfect. Thank you. Lots of really great work that's being done, so congratulations on this. And I always love hearing about that we're helping new owners get into a home. And so I heard you, there was 2 in Morgan Hill. That was wonderful. And then I think in one of those, slide 9, it has 66 loans issued. So that means that 66 people now own a home. Wonderful. And the 243 loan pre-approvals issued, is that the potential of folks looking for a home and having a down payment? I mean, tell me what that really is.
Thank you for the question, Supervisor.
Oh, there we go. I'm looking at Consuelo for all the answers.
Loan pre-approvals, prior to purchasing a home, there's actually a lot of advance work that needs to be done for buyers. So this is the process that they go through with the housing trust. So being pre-approved for a loan is all the underwriting that takes place that the household needs to go through before they get a pre-approval issued by the housing trust. And then the line below it is one-on-one counseling. So the housing trust also provides a lot of education that is customized to each household.
Wonderful, thank you. I think the other questions were answered throughout the presentation. So really, all we have left is a motion to be made.
I want to turn the microphone back on so that they can hear loud and clear. Move approval of the recommended action, which is to receive the report.
Second.
Vice Chairperson Samadian.
Samadian, aye.
Chairperson Arenas.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And I lied earlier about this being the last item, but nobody said anything. We were all just going to leave after item 9. But item 10 is about supportive housing in this county, as well as our reentry housing programs. Welcome.
Good morning, Chair Arenas, Supervisor Samadian. Thank you so much for staying for this item, even though it is the last item.
You're welcome.
I'm going to pull up our slides. Thank you. KJ Kaminsky, Deputy Director for the Office of Supportive Housing. This morning, I will be sharing our regular supportive housing dashboard update, as well as an update on our reentry housing programs. So first, to share our progress on our primary 2 goals for our community plan to end homelessness. We are 71% towards our goal of housing 20,000 people by 2025. And I know we talk about this every month, and it's incremental improvement, but we really are really proud of the fact that we've helped over 14,000 people move into permanent housing since 2020. The chart on the right shows progress towards our goal to achieve a 30% reduction in inflow of people becoming homeless. While we have made progress, the inflow over the past year is less than it was when we started or when we embarked upon the community plan in 2020. We have seen an increase over the last couple of years, as we reported in our annual report recently. So we are watching that. We know that we continue to need more prevention, continue to need more affordable housing. Those underlying conditions that are pushing people into homelessness are still ever present in our community. This next chart shows a month-over-month numbers of placements into permanent housing next to the number of people who have been assessed for housing for the first time. So this really shows how we're making that progress demonstrated on the previous slide. Housing over 200, in a typical month, we're housing over 200 households. But we are also assessing over 300, generally over 300, sometimes close to 400 households for housing assistance for the first time. Next, I want to share a bit about our reentry housing programs. This first chart is the housing status of the clients that are receiving services at the Reentry Resource Center. So we work with our partners at the Resource Center to understand what the housing situation for the people who are accessing services there. 35% of people served at the Reentry Resource Center are literally homeless. These are the folks that are generally eligible for our homeless housing programs. 35% are permanently housed, and 18% are in a transitional housing situation, while 7% are in institutional situation. The next slide highlights our housing program outcomes. So the chart on the left is related to our reentry rapid rehousing exceptions program. In this reporting period, we had 25 folks who exited that rapid rehousing program, of which 56% exited to permanent destinations. This is a bit lower than our system-wide target and lower than our system-wide average for rapid rehousing, but does reflect the multiple barriers that are faced by people with involvement in the criminal justice system, and we're continuing to work with our contractor and our partners to see improvement in those outcomes. On the right side is the permanent supportive housing retention. So these are folks that are enrolled in our jail diversion permanent supportive housing program. We have a 100% retention rate for the 60 households enrolled, and that means that those households that were housed for 12 months remained housed consecutively. We also manage the Reentry Emergency Assistance Program. This is a program that provides one-time or short-term rental or financial assistance. This chart shows both the number of households served as well as the type of assistance that they received. About 49% received hotel assistance, 24% rental assistance, 11% received security deposit, and 10% rental arrears or late fees. So we continue to see a high need for some one-time assistance as people exit jail, prison in our community, and this emergency assistance program is well utilized. The last chart we have to share is just the demographics of households that are assessed for housing at the Reentry Center. Note that on the race and ethnicity demographics, people are allowed to select more than one option. But we see here that about 55% of the people assessed for housing at the Reentry Center identify as Hispanic or Latino. 46% identify as white, and 14% as Black, African American, or African. In terms of the age breakdown, we see that 86% are between the ages of 25 to 54, with the largest groups in that 35 to 44 range, as well as 25 to 34 range. And with that, that concludes our presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Peggy, let's check for public comment.
We have no speakers.
And a vice chair. Okay. I do just have one question. In the Appendix B under the program capacity chart, most of the units for each of the housing type have increased since last year, except for rapid rehousing. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Especially since we're seeing about 71% of households exiting rapid rehousing programs moved to permanent housing, and we're also seeing success in the reentry.
Sorry, Chairperson Arenas, is the question about the capacity decrease in the rapid rehousing on Chart B? Did I hear that correctly? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so what we're seeing here is there were some, this is primarily one relatively large rapid rehousing program that was implemented as part of our COVID response. It was called the CARES program, and it was funded with one-time funding, and it was for the households that were medically vulnerable and placed in our COVID hotels. We implemented a new rapid rehousing program that helped those folks move out of hotels and into permanent housing, but it was one time, so once that funding ended, that it was not renewed, and we see that capacity decrease. That's the primary reason for that. We haven't seen a reduction overall in the other rapid rehousing program types.
Got it. I appreciate that. I think those are the extent of my comments and my questions, other than to say thank you for all the work that you're doing. Motion.
Move the recommended action, which is to, well, let me make sure I do this properly for you, Madam Chair. Receive the report.
Second.
Vice Chairperson Semidion.
Aye.
Chairperson Arenas.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Wonderful. So we are going to move to our last item, which is our department activity reports. And we're going to start with Jacqueline Anciano.
Thank you. Jacqueline Anciano, Director of Planning and Development. Just want to speak to our fees. We went before the board. Our building plan check fees and our building inspection fees will be increasing 34% effective Monday, April 8th. We have been very diligent to reach out to those applicants who have development records processing through our system to notify them and to make ourselves available so that they can pay fees and be informed of the increase. And the other item we're working on is we're actively working on filling our positions, recruitments. We had a number of vacancies that we have been recruiting for and having interviews. And so we're delighted to be moving forward to get our workforce up to a standard where we can fulfill our mission statement of efficiency with providing services to the public. And that's the presentation from planning. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Harry with Roads and Airports.
Yeah, good morning. Harry Freitas, Roads and Airports Director. Just wanted to go over a few things right now on the maintenance side. We're primarily doing our crack sealing and culvert replacements in advance of our...
I'm sorry, Harry, could you get closer to your
sorry.
mic?
Yeah, I guess I do that a lot. Right now on our maintenance side, we're doing crack sealing and culvert replacement in advance of our paving season coming up. Related to paving season, we received permission to advertise our microsurfacing project for the year. And then at the next board meeting, we'll be advertising our San Tomas Expressway resurfacing project. And then just briefly on storm damage, I wanted to mention that our sites have all, that are currently winterized or still damaged from last year's winter storms, are all under control. However, Clayton Road has experienced some movement. We've been up there a couple of times to repair or to make the road work. That road is currently stop controlled one way in each direction. Clayton, that landslide is a historic, deep-seated landslide that I would say reactivated in last year's winter storms. And then on Upper Aldercroft Heights Road, we have had some debris coming from the upper area of the slide into the Upper Aldercroft Heights Road damage site, which we've cleared over the course of the winter. So that concludes our comments. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Next, we have Don Rocha with Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, Don Rocha, Director of Parks. We are continuing with our Mount Madonna Forest Health project. It's been underway for over 20 acres of non-native tree removals. We expect to be completed by June of this year, right before the busy season. Our maintenance staff are also working on the reopening of the loop trail at Mount Madonna, which was a slide from the 2023 storms. So we hope to have that open in the next 3 weeks. Construction of the Field Sports Park Clubhouse remodel is to begin this spring. It should not impact use in that area, so we'll have temporary setup so the operation of the Field Sports Park will continue during construction. We've almost completed our evaluation of over 90 unused structures within the park system to evaluate those for historic significance, and then we'll be developing a plan for either their removal, their preservation, or the next steps in working with those unused structures. And that concludes my report.
Through the chair,
Yes, please.
could we go back to Mr. Freitas, please? I apologize. I had a couple of questions I didn't lean in on in a timely way.
So we're going back to...
With your permission.
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Mr. Freitas, thanks to everyone for the long effort to remediate the storm damage. But what, could I get a little more information? Could we get a little more information, please, about Old Santa Cruz Highway?
Yeah, so Old Santa Cruz Highway, as you know, has been closed since it was damaged last year. It is a very steep slide that has a significant amount of we could call it a creek that's running through it. It was in a culvert that crossed under the road, and that's been and that was severely damaged. We hired a geotechnical engineer, and now we have actually recommendations for a temporary repair that's going to require a construction project that we plan on doing in the next couple of months. And what I mean by that is right now we're working on finalizing some of the details of the design, which involves the placement of soil to buttress the slope, and also the injection and placement of lighter concrete into areas that are undermined on the road to strengthen that road. And at that point, I'd say prior to the summer, we'll be able to open that road to one-way stop-controlled traffic. And it'll be that way until we can effectuate the ultimate repair on that road. I do want to I think I've mentioned this before. That road is designated as a Federal Highway Administration road, and that means that under the federal rules, it's not subject to a FEMA reimbursement, but it is subject to funding from federal highway program. But it introduces little differences in the procurement. We're going to have to fix that road ultimately through a low bid solicitation using all applicable federal rules so that we can ultimately receive reimbursement for the repair on Old Santa Cruz Highway.
Through the chair, thank you, Ms. Freitas. This is a full closure as things stand right now, yes?
Yes, it's been closed since it was damaged.
And I think there is an understanding that this works, a full closure works a particular hardship on the community.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the hardship. The community has full access. This does require some detouring, and it does require an additional left turn on Highway 17 to access, certain properties in the Santa Cruz Mountains. That left turn has been out there for a long time, and it is used by the community who live on other streets in that area. But it is nonetheless absolutely a hardship for the community.
Any possibility to help folks by, picking a date certain and just saying we're going to get at least one lane open by that date certain, late
Yeah.
spring or before summer is?
Yeah, I mean, I would say right now, our goal internally is to get the road open, and have our contractor out there in April. I would prefer at this point, because we haven't authorized the construction, meaning we haven't come to a price agreement with our contractor. I would prefer to say, let's say June 15th at this point would be a commitment that we would make. I anticipate we would come in sooner than that. But right now, I feel like we're faced with some unknowns. Remember, all of this investment in the temporary repair will not be reimbursable. So we are looking at the details of what we're spending money on.
You said all of the expenditure will or won't be?
This temporary repair will not be reimbursable because we're going to do it under a procurement method that isn't allowed by the federal government, because that's a pretty lengthy process.
Now, this particular closure is a function of storms from last March?
I don't want to say March because it's a little bit of a blur. The rain started in December, and we finished with the snow in March. I can't remember exactly when it failed, but I do know that it failed somewhere between the storms in late December and mid-March. So yes, it has been a year.
And is that length of time to get even a single lane open considered the norm, acceptable?
Well, in my profession, in this circumstance, it is acceptable, and it's not ideal. There are many, many locations throughout Northern California and throughout the county, Santa Cruz County and San Benito County and Alameda County, that have not been repaired. These are specific locations. You have to evaluate the strength of the materials and the slopes, and ultimately make a determination as to when the road can safely be opened. In some cases, we can utilize the engineering staff that we have to make those determinations, and in some cases, we want a geotechnical investigation sufficient so that we can determine the strength of the underlying soils and what's going on. In that case, we hire consultants to do that and write reports. This temporary repair is going to be an engineered design by a licensed professional engineering firm, structural engineering and soil engineering, to ensure that the strengthening that we do is going to be strong enough to hold up so it doesn't fall down.
And the permanent repairs will take how long again?
How long to design and construct? You're looking for beneficial use, or
I guess to put it in layman's terms, we're going to have a temporary repair. It'll be one lane, and then one day we'll get it back to its old self, hopefully even better and less susceptible to damage. And somebody will have a ribbon cutting and say, "Congratulations, we're done." That's my layman's definition of when is that day going to come, and is there a schedule for that? I mean,
I don't have a commitment that I would feel comfortable making right now on that road, mostly because I have some concerns about our ability to get through our environmental permitting process. And that's specifically a risk related to the implementation of that project that we are still concerned about. We're using consultants to help us get through the environmental permitting process. And that's not an internal environmental, that's our resource agencies that we're working with. There's also kind of the federal rules for this particular road that add a little bit of complexity, but nothing too complex and nothing that our department can't handle. But I think that, well, I will say that once we have our ultimate design finalized and submitted to the resource agencies, that's when I'd like to post a schedule that we all can commit to the public.
And that would likely happen when?
So I appreciate the questions very much, because I think that, we're doing our best to communicate with the community, and we're trying to balance the needs to commit and deliver with not overcommitting and kind of disappointing. So I do want to thank you. I'm glad we're talking about this. Our goal would be to have a schedule published this summer for that. And I would say that would be our commitment.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Who's the responsible agency in terms of environmental review?
Well, we need essentially three permits. We need fish and wildlife permits. We need.
And that's state or federal?
Well, that's a good question. Fish and wildlife is state. Yeah. We need federal permitting through the Army Corps, and we need local permitting through the Regional Water Quality Control Board. So those are the three larger environmental permits that we need for permission to do this work.
Through the chair, as long as we're in the vicinity, what's the situation at Aldercroft Heights these days, if I might ask?
Yes, and I appreciate that one. So Aldercroft Heights, so that is a very large landslide that goes through a switchback of a road, so it affects the top of the road and the bottom of the road. At the bottom of the road is the toe of the landslide, and it has had some additional, let's say, well, it's moving. So the landslide is continuing to move, albeit a lot slower because we've controlled the flow of water into it. The bottom of the road, it's open to two-lane traffic, and it has been since shortly after the failure occurred. The top slide is also an FHWA road. So the bottom isn't, but the top is. The top is currently opened to one lane of traffic with stop controls on each side, and it's operating well, and it's been operating that way for quite some time.
Through the chair, one sort of overarching question. So how did we fare, given all of these areas where we still have work to do during the most recent set of storms?
As I tried to describe, we've had movement at Clayton and movement at Upper Aldercroft.
Yeah,
I mean, earth movement, if that's what
I certainly understand that through the years, through the decades, these processes become more complex, interjurisdictional challenges, multiplicity of permits. But I always go back to a history lesson, which is that somehow our country fought and won a world war on two continents in about 3.5 years. And it was because people didn't have a choice. They thought it was essential. So I'm obviously not comparing the two events, but I do think we have have to guard against simply accepting that everything takes as long as it takes. I know that's easier said than done, but I just sort of want to underscore that. All right, thank you very much, Madam Chair. Sorry to make us circle back.
Yeah, thank you.
That's quite okay. I think we were with Don. Or Don, did you finish? Oh, I'm sorry, Edgar. Go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair. And as Vice Chair Smithian, Edgar Nolasco, your agency director for SEPA. Short report, in animal services, we had a dramatic increase in our spay and neuter program. We have completed 3,200 spay and neuter surgeries as of this calendar year. Many thanks to our two veterinarians, Dr. Vong and Dr. Kramer. In the Watershed Protection Division, our SB 170 county-wide litter abatement program will be coming to a close in the next month. Many thanks to Senator Cortese for this program that allowed a $2 million one-time grant from CalRecycle. With that appropriation, we cleaned 705 locations throughout the county, picked up 250 tires, 140 mattresses, 608 pounds of e-waste, and 4,300 bulky items, 100 tons of miscellaneous trash. Not to mention, this program provided over 27,000 work hours experience to young adults in the community with a partnership with San Jose Conservation Corps. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you so much. We're going to move on to Consuelo.
Thank you, Chair. Just a few announcements. Tomorrow we have the grand opening of the Vitalia Apartments in the city of San Jose at 11 a.m. It's a new 79-unit development. On Monday, April 24th, we have the grand opening celebration of Solaire Apartments at 425 Azare in San Jose, 130 units. On Tuesday, April 23rd, we have the grand opening of the Meridian Apartments. Supervisor Simidian, this is one of the IDD projects that Natalie mentioned in her presentation at 397 South Matilda in Sunnyvale. Also wanted to flag that we have kicked off our community engagement in the city of Cupertino for our educator workforce housing project. Our first engagement with the school districts is scheduled for Thursday, April 25th. We learned a lot through our 231 Grant Avenue about bringing the educators in early, and we want to help them. We want them to help us develop a vision for the property. Yesterday, our grants team submitted an application for HAP Round 5 in the amount of $27.9 million. That funding will help support our shelter operations, homelessness prevention, and some of our basic needs services. We also wanted to announce that we recently hired Emily Chen, previously with the Facilities and Fleet Department, to serve as our new county-led program manager to augment Natalie's team. As you saw today, Natalie and her team have done an amazing and tremendous amount of work. With the addition of Emily, it will allow us to accelerate the production of housing on county-owned properties. Thank you.
Thank you. So that concludes our meeting, and this is
Apologies for the interruption, but I do need to say we have no speakers on the item.
Oh, of course, of course. I forget that this item does require public comment. And do we have any public comment?
We don't.
Wonderful. Well, that is great confirmation. Okay, with that, I adjourn this meeting and I hope to see everybody next month. Thank you.